So welcome to our intermediate class today. Our theme this week is on the breath. So last week we were using sensations in the body as a tool for mindfulness, of being aware and kind of being present with ourselves and bringing compassion to whatever we discovered. And today we're going to use the breath as a tool for mindfulness. So when we tune into the breath, we're tuning into the present moment. And there's absolutely no need to change the breath at all. At any time throughout the practice. I will make some suggestions to breathe in certain ways at times, but know that if it doesn't feel comfortable for you or if it feels like you're straining with your breath, it's always better to just let go of any technique we're doing and just breathe normally. Right? So we don't want to agitate ourselves with focusing on the breath. We want to really create some space. And the idea today with the practice is we're going to focus on the area that we feel the breath typically, and create a sense of expansion with that space. So really breathing into that space and doing certain movements that expand the space and breathing into it again. And the idea is that when we feel stressed, we feel squeezed and compressed, right? The word in Sanskrit is dukkha and literally means compressed space. And when we feel good, we feel a sense of expansion, a sense of openness, a sense of flow and ease in our bodies. And that in Sanskrit is called sukha, which means the opposite of dukkha, which is expanded space. Right? So we're going to work to create a feeling of expanded space to allow ourselves to feel more mindful, more in touch with ourselves and our bodies, and also more vitality, more energy. So, and you know, sometimes the effect that is expected isn't always the effect that actually happens. So it could be, you know, what you bring to the practice, how well you slept, how much you've eaten, what you've eaten, all of that kind of, those kinds of factors. So know that this practice, the intention is expansion, mindfulness, and getting in touch, feeling, but we'll see what happens, a sense of ease and expansion. All right, so we're going to start seated. So we'll do a little bit of checking in seated, and then we'll go from there. So you can sit on a chair or the floor, whatever is comfortable for you. So those of you who are joining me live, you know it's a very cold day today, so we'll take our time to warm up. I'm feeling a lot of heat from the wood stove behind me. So hopefully you're cozy in your space. And especially for the end, for Shavasana, you want to make sure that you're nice and warm. So if you need blankets or any other props, to have those handy. So sitting comfortably, if you're on a chair, feet are flat on the floor. If you're sitting on the floor, your legs can be stretched out in front of you, or you can be cross-legged, whatever feels most comfortable to you. So as we start, I invite you to simply tune into your breath as it is. So be curious about the movement of your breath, where your breath goes in your body, where you feel it. And know that there's no right or wrong answer here. Just tuning into what's true for you. So do you feel breath in the upper chest, upper back area? Notice that. Be aware of any movement in your shoulders, in your armpits. And tune into the sides of your torso, from your armpits to your waist. And then move your attention down into your belly and lower back. Notice any movement of breath in this area of your body. So we're going to work with the cat-cow movement, and we're going seated for now, and we'll vary up the breath a little bit. So again, if varying the breath feels uncomfortable or it's too many balls to juggle or it creates anxiety, which is true for some people, too much focus on the breath and we're breathing in unfamiliar ways can create anxiety. If that is the case for you, absolutely just breathe normally. You get lots of benefit from the practice, no matter how you're breathing. And there's no wrong way to breathe, okay? So the typical way we do cat-cow is to inhale as we lift the chest and exhale as we round the back. So we'll start there. And I invite you, if it feels comfortable to you, to visualize as you breathe in, breath expanding all around the heart. And as you breathe out, imagine your belly drawing back and you're releasing right from the belly. So inhale, as if the breath is moving down from the chest into the belly. Exhale, squeezing from the belly up. Great, now let's come back to neutral spine, and I'm going to invite you to do the breath a little bit differently. If it doesn't feel right for you, again, just let it go, breathe normally, or do the breath we just did. So what we're going to do is we're going to move when we're exhaling, and when we're in each position, either arched or rounded, we're going to breathe in. So let's take a breath in here. Good, now as you exhale, round your back and stay there as you inhale. And then as you exhale, lift up and arch your back. Stay there and inhale. So you're exhaling as you move, rounding the back, inhaling as you stay in that rounded position. And then exhale as you move, inhale as you stay in the arch position. Exhale when you're moving. When you get there, stay, breathe in and feel the breath wherever it moves. And then exhaling as you move your body. Inhale as you're staying. A couple more rounds. Finished in the arched position. After a nice big inhale, you can exhale and just let your body return to neutral spine. And then we'll work with a little bit of a side bend. So moving dynamically at first, and then we'll stay a little bit. And again, we'll work with the breath in the normal way and then change it up a little bit. So you can bring your hands to fingertips to the ground, or if you're on a chair, to the seat of the chair, or just hanging to your side. And one arm will lift, reaching up, breathing in. And then as you exhale, walk the hand away on the ground or use it to support you on the chair as you go to the side. When you come up, inhale and switch. Lengthen and exhale to the side. So you're inhaling as you come up, exhaling and just a little bit to the side to start to feel yourself opening up the sides of your body. Move at your own pace with your own breath. And remember, it's always absolutely, completely fine to just breathe normally, to ignore all of the breath cues altogether and just breathe normally. You'll, again, like I said, still get all the benefits of the practice. Slightly different experience. Great, now let's come back to the center. And this time, as we go to each side, we're going to hold for one breath. So you'll inhale and lift. Exhale, come to the side. Inhale, lengthen as you breathe in here. Exhale, if there's any more movement, you can release a little more. And then inhale, come up. Exhale, release that arm down. So inhale up, other side. Exhale, go to the side. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, maybe deepen if it feels good for you, or stay. And then inhale back up. Exhale, release. Let's continue like that. Inhale up. Exhale to the side. Make sure you're bending the arms so you're not scrunching up your shoulder. Inhale as you lengthen. Exhale, maybe release into that stretch a little more if it feels okay, but absolutely not if it doesn't. Coming up and releasing with an exhale. Again. A little to the side, lengthen up and check in. And then if there's a little more movement that wants to happen, you can allow it on your exhale and then inhale back up. Great. And then let's pause for a moment and just feel the body, feel the torso. You can let the hands rest on your lap or thighs. Just notice that little bit of space we've created. Right. And then you can go ahead and stretch your legs out if you're sitting cross-legged. Give them a shake. If they've fallen asleep, wake them up a little bit. And then we'll swing around to come onto all fours. So hands under the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. Your feet can be tucked under or flat behind you, whatever is comfortable for you. Bring padding under your knees if you need it. Support your wrists by coming onto fists or rolling up your mat a little. If you need a bit of support under your wrists, you can do that. And then again, we'll move into that cat-cow movement. First with normal breathing. So normally we're inhaling, soft elbows, chest coming forward as we come into the arch position. Exhaling as we round and come into that cat position. So following that for a few breaths. If you prefer the variation where you move to child's pose on the exhale, you can do that, or just stay upright. I think for most of you, this will feel really familiar. We do it in many of the classes. And just to shake it up a little bit, we're going to vary the breath the same way we did seated. So we're moving on the exhale, staying stationary on the inhale. So let's take a breath in here. As you exhale, move to child's pose or round your back into cat pose. Once you get there, stay and inhale. And then exhale as you move back to the cow or arched position, and then inhale there. Exhale, move. Stay and inhale. Exhale, move. Stay and inhale. And by now, I hope you're following your own breath. You may be quite out of sync with me. That's great. Continue a few more rounds. Maybe one more here. And then freestyle, let your breath be normal. Just move your body in any way that feels good. Maybe circles with your hips or a little side to side. You can come into the twist with the thread the needle if you like, and just move the body in any way that feels good for maybe a minute or two here. If you just want to come to child's pose and breathe, if that feels best to you, then that's a lovely option as well. And then we're going to make our way to child's pose. And if you're unfamiliar with this bit of a resting side bend, you can look at the screen the first time and then go from there. So I'm going to face, I think, the screen so that you can see what's happening. So I'm coming to child's pose. Arms are stretched out. I'm going to shift my hips one way, walk my arms the other way. Okay? Now, the arm that corresponds to the hip that's out to the side is the arm that's going to stay straight and give you this feeling stretch alongside of your body. Your head can come to the ground or a block if you've got one handy, or you can take the fist of that other hand and let your head rest on your fist. So you're going to find your way to that kind of a position where you're feeling a stretch along the side of your body. You can stay there and breathe into that feeling of stretch, right up to the armpit. right down to the hip. If it's uncomfortable, make the movement smaller so you're not stretched out so much. Feel the breath moving from the armpit to the hip or anywhere along that line. Great. And then when you're ready to come back to center, you can shift the hips back to center, come right up to all fours. Take a breath in and find a little opening in the heart. Exhale, move to child's pose and stay there for a few breaths. You can rest your head on your hands or on the ground. Just take a few breaths there and see if you can feel a difference between the two sides. So we stretch one side out in that side bend, but not the other. So notice what you feel as you breathe here. And then once you kind of have a sense and you're ready to move on, you can walk your hands to the other side as you shift the hips slightly off the heels to the opposite direction. And then again, the arm that corresponds to the hip that's pressed out, you're going to keep that one long to keep that stretch engaged. The other arm could come and rest. So I like to make a fist and rest my head on it. So my head is somewhere to hang out, not just hanging in space. And then I'm going to breathe into that long side, armpit to hip. If it's too much, just come back towards the center a little bit. If you want more, move to the side a bit more and breathe into that long side. And then you'll make your way back to the center, come up to all fours. And again, once more, inhale, little arch in the back. Exhale, moving into child's pose. Stay for a few breaths. And as you're staying now in child's pose, breathing into the whole back and sides of your body. So feeling that whole expansion of your turtle shell. So if you imagine the back being covered by this shell, your shell is flexible. And you're expanding that shell as you breathe. If you have a hard time breathing here, take your legs apart, give some space for your breath. So a few more breaths in child's pose, really tuning into the feeling of the breath, expanding in the back of your body. And then coming back to all fours, you can do just a few more rounds of cat-cow or all fours to child's pose to make sure you're nicely aligned again, rebalanced in the spine after that static, deep side bend. And then moving the hips back to the heels, you can come to sit on your heels as long as that's comfortable for you. So really check in with your ankles and your knees. If they don't like this position, you might be better off in a high kneeling position. And either is totally fine. So coming to this high kneeling position or sitting on your heels. And let's just do a few rotations for the wrists. One way and the other. And then give them a little shake. So we're going to move into a kneeling sun salutation. I think most of you are familiar with it. It's fairly simple. And then we'll start to vary the breath as we go through a few more rounds. So we'll do the first one or two just normal so you can kind of get into the rhythm and then we'll play with it. But again, if you want to stay with normal breathing the whole time or just let go of any coordination of the breath, please listen to your breath. If it feels strained, then just normal breathing. So from here, arms to your sides, or you can start with hands on the thighs. And we're going to lift up and find a little lift in the heart. And then from here, child's pose. So just breathe normally any way that feels good the first round. Inhale, all fours. Sorry, breathe anyway, and then I tell you when to breathe. So just breathe, coming into downward dog. Keep your knees a little bit bent. Press into your hands, lengthen your spine, let your head release. A breath or two here, and then we'll come back to all fours. Back to child's pose. Back up to high kneeling. And then back to wherever you started, either sitting up on your knees or sitting back on your heels. Okay? So we'll do that sequence again. This time I'll cue you for the inhales and exhales if you want to coordinate with the breath. Otherwise, just breathe in a normal, relaxed pattern. So here we'll inhale and lift. Exhale to child's pose. Inhale, all fours, arching your back. Exhale, downward dog. Soft knees, long spine, head between the arms. Couple of breaths here. And then back to all fours, breathing in, arching the back. Exhaling, moving into child's pose. Inhaling to high kneeling. And then exhaling back to your starting position. Great. So either way, either a normal breath, coordinating the breath, and now we're going to add one more element into this, if, again, only if it feels comfortable for you, which is to hold the breath briefly after each inhalation. So that helps to increase the sense of expansion and opening. If you feel strained or anxious, just skip the holding, okay? So from here, inhale, lift, and pause. Exhale, child's pose. Inhaling, all fours, arching. Pause. Exhale, downward dog. Breathe in and pause. Breathe out completely. Back to all fours as you breathe in. And then pause. Exhale, child's pose. Inhale, high kneeling, lifting up and pausing after your inhale. And then exhale back to where we started. Great. So we have 3 different options now: breathing normally, breathing coordinated with the breath, and then breathing coordinated with the breath and holding after inhale. So we'll do one more round. Choose the breath pattern that works for you, and we'll go from there. So starting, lifting, inhale and maybe hold, and then exhale, child's pose. Come into all fours, breathing in if you're coordinating, holding if you're holding. And then exhale, downward dog. We'll take a couple breaths here this time. You can hold after your inhale if you like. Next inhale, lowering the knees and lifting the heart. Maybe pausing after inhale. And then exhale, child's pose. Inhale, high kneeling. Again, pausing if you're choosing to do so. And then exhale back to where we started. Great. So again, really tuning into the breath pattern that works best for you as we do the next sun salutation. We're going to change the movement this time a little bit. And if you started out feeling really good with holding after the inhale and then it starts to feel like a strain, just drop it. Okay, so really important to be relaxed with your breath no matter what pattern you're doing. So this time we're going to be stepping forward for warrior. So if you know you need blocks to help you, you can have those handy if you've got them. So from here, inhale and lift. Maybe pause. Exhale, child's pose. Inhale, all fours. Maybe pause. And then exhale, downward dog. Take a breath here. And then when you're empty of breath, step your left foot forward and take your time to set yourself up here. So you want to take the back leg, turn your foot out to the side so your whole foot is planted on the ground, pressing into that foot. And then when you're ready, you can lift up into Warrior One. And we'll move in Warrior One from the upright position to any version of the forward position. So hands to knees, shin, or ground. And again, if you like, when you come up, you can hold the breath for a second or two, up to maybe 3 to 5 seconds, not too much. And then exhale forward. Go at your own pace. Choosing to hold after the inhale or not. Keep a little bit of bend in the front knee as you come forward, but if you want more stretch, you can move it a little straighter. And next time you come upright into warrior, stay for a few breaths. We're going to bend the elbows, bring the elbows down a little lower than the shoulders, and draw them back a little, let the heart open. Breathing here. When you inhale, feel this expansion around the heart. As you exhale, use your stomach muscles a little bit to draw the belly back. All right, let's bring the hands down onto the front knee. Let the chest come down toward the thigh. If it's available, you can bring the hands to the ground, let your head release, and take a few breaths breathing into the back of the body, expanding your turtle shell. Great. And then you'll bring your hands flat and step back to downward dog. You can walk your dog, walking on the spot. Maybe notice how the calf feels of the leg that was back versus the one that's not been back yet. As you walk and stretch the calves, notice, is there a difference between the two sides? And then when you're ready, we're going to bring the right foot forward, or whichever foot you didn't do. And take your back foot, turn it out so your whole foot is planted. You can step it a bit forward if you need to get that foot planted. And then from there, again, we'll lift up with the breath in. Maybe hold after inhale. Exhale, come forward. Repeat that at your own pace. Choosing to hold after inhale or not, as feels right for you. And coming upright, coming into Warrior One, elbows down, a little lower in your shoulders, reaching them back so the heart lifts. But on your exhale, you want to use your stomach muscles so we're not just arching the lower back, we're really trying to come back to neutral. On the exhale, lifting the heart a little on the inhale. Elbows to the side. So it's almost like a little tiny cat-cow movement with your breath. Good. And then when you're ready, you can release hands to the knee, chest towards the thigh, maybe reaching toward the ground, letting the head release, and then breathing into that space in the back of your body. Right, when you're ready, let's step back to downward dog. You can take a couple of breaths here again, walking on the spot, and noticing how both calves and ankles feel now. And then eventually, lowering the knees, lifting the heart. You can pause after inhale if you like. Exhale, child's pose. Inhale, high kneeling again. Pause if you choose after your inhale. And then exhale back to wherever you started. If you're comfortable here, just take a moment to tune in and notice how your body feels. You can be in that high kneeling position as well if that feels better. We won't stay too long, but just really tuning in and noticing the breath, the feeling maybe of expansion in your body. Right. And then again, wherever you're starting from, you're going to come to that position. And we'll inhale and lift. Exhale, child's pose. Into all fours again. You could hold after inhale for a couple of seconds if you like. And then exhaling, downward dog. We'll take the left foot forward again. Turn your right foot out to the side, just like for warrior. Inhale and lift up. And we're going to take the right arm, bring it down, and as it comes to the side, we'll turn the body to the side and lower the other arm to come to warrior two. Or however you get there is fine. So look down at your left knee. You want your left knee to be pointing straight in line with your left toes, so it's not twisting in. Right. From here, I'm going to reach the torso over towards that bent knee, and then bring the hand or the forearm down. Let's start by turning the palm back and bringing the hand behind the back. And then lift that shoulder a little, and you might feel some stretch from the side of your body down. I feel it into my hip here. You might feel a little differently. Notice and breathe into that space. And then if you like, you can raise the arm, palm forward. See how that changes your experience of stretch, if at all. Keep breathing into where you feel any kind of tightness. If it's too much, come up a little or come right out of the pose. And if you still want more stretch, turn the palm toward your face or towards your head in that direction and slowly reach it overhead until you find the stretch that feels just right for you. The more you spin to lift the chest towards the ceiling, the more you're going to feel that stretch in the side of your body. When you're ready to come up, you'll lift. We're going to lift the back heel. Take the back arm now, swing it overhead as you turn back. Bring your hands down, and we'll step back to downward dog. Again, you can take a few breaths here, marching on the spot if you like. And then it's going to be the right foot stepping forward, left foot turning out. When you're ready, inhale, lift up to warrior one. And then the left arm comes down, swings around. You let the body turn, but keep your right knee right over your ankle. You can play around with the angle of your back foot to find a comfortable position. And then reach, without pushing the back hip out, reach the torso. Bring the hand or the forearm down. And then back arm, palm turns back, comes behind the back. And we're stacking the shoulders left over right. Breathing here, feeling the breath into the side of your body. If you want more, lift the arm, palm forward. If you still want more, turn the palm towards your head and reach up and over. When you're ready, coming all the way up, warrior two. Lift your back heel, swing the back arm over as you pivot. Bring your hands down and step back to downward dog. From downward dog, knees come down, breathing in, maybe taking a pause after the inhale. Exhale, we'll move to child's pose, and we're going to stay in child's pose for a few breaths this time. So make yourself comfortable. Use your hands to support your head if you need that support. Or the head can rest on the ground. And from child's pose, again, feeling that sense of expansion all around the back of your body. So along the length of your spine and then to the sides of your body. So really expanding your breath into that space. Even if it's just a little bit of awareness that you feel of breath in the back of your body, that's fine. Okay, from child's pose, we'll lift up, high kneeling, coming all the way up. We're going to stay in high kneeling now and bring the arms down to the sides. So here you want to keep the hips over the knees, so you're not pushing the hips forward, right? So the lift comes from the heart. So you can let your hands come to your hips, either fingers forward, or you can have your hands with fingers pointing down behind you. You just want to make sure you don't push your hips forward. It's more of a downward pressure. So as you press gently down on the hips, feel the heart lift. You can draw the elbows back. Think about your head staying in line with your spine. You can even tuck the chin in a little if your neck feels uncomfortable here, or look up if your neck feels strong and that feels good. Great, coming back to neutral, lifting the arms, breathing in. We'll exhale, come back to child's pose. Inhale, come to all fours. And exhale, moving into downward dog. Again, you can take a few breaths in downward dog. Right, and then we'll come back down to all fours. And we'll come to sit. So you can either cross your ankles and come back and sit over your heels, or you can just swing your legs around to whatever. Just swing them around to come to sit. And then we'll stretch the legs out in front. Give them a little shake. So we've been working mostly, I guess, with the upper body and the breath and tuning into that. So work a little bit with the legs now. So bringing one knee in, really doesn't matter which. And you can let that knee go into your hand. Now, if your hips are tight and you've got some restriction there, you can use the other hand behind you to support you, and you're just going to bring that knee in and out a little bit. And if you've got a little more movement in your hip and it would feel good to you to reach down and pick up your foot, you can do that. You want to flex your foot so you're not twisting at your ankle. That's also going to protect your knee. So one hand on the knee, one hand on the ankle, you're sitting up, and you can rock the leg gently across the body. Right, so if that feels too much, right back to the ground. Wonderful. And then bringing that foot down, you can bring it across the leg to the floor. If that's not comfortable, just leave it on the inside. If you can cross over and that feels good, great. And then both sit bones are, I got a squeaky spot on the floor here. You can rock a bit and make sure you've got both sit bones anchored. You can interlace your fingers, bring them around your knee, and sit up tall. Let the heart lift a little. Take a few nice breaths here. We're going to be moving into a twist, and when you're twisting, you want to think about twisting up and out rather than in and down. Right? So whichever knee is up in front, you're going to take the opposite hand to that knee, or if you like, you can reach and hug your knee with your elbow. The other arm reaches up. You're going to breathe in and really lengthen. And as you exhale, turn towards your knee, bring the hand down behind you. Use it to press down into the ground to lift you up. Depending on the length of your arms, you might be on your fingertips or flat hand. And then again, you can hug the knee or just hold it with your hand. Keep lifting tall. Turn your head to look over your back shoulder. And each breath in, you're lifting a little taller. As you exhale, soften. Great, coming back to the center. You can uncross, maybe give your legs a little shake. And then we'll bring the opposite knee in. And again, same thing. You can support yourself on one hand and just take the knee side to side, or you can flex your foot. Reach down for your foot with your hand, hold the other hand on your knee, and rock the leg. Just getting a little more movement into the hip. So whatever feels good for you, no strain here at all. And then placing the foot down, you can use your hands around your knee to help support a nice upright position. So again, you still want to feel both sit bones nicely anchored down. And then opposite hand to knee. Again, you could reach right around with your elbow. I like to start with the hand and then go a little deeper as I twist, but it's up to you. Turning a little toward that leg, reaching the arm up. Grow along with the breath in. As you exhale, bring that hand down behind you. Press it into the ground to lift up tall. And again, hand or reaching around. For some people, the elbow outside the knee is a nice position. For me, that's a little too much leverage. So I like just to hold the knee, looking behind you and breathing. Each inhalation, grow tall. Okay, and then slowly releasing around to the front. You can rest back on your hands, give your legs a little shake. Great. And then for the next one, it's a variation of a pose called turtle pose or Kurmasana. Literally means turtle pose. You'll bring the soles of the feet together with a lot of space in your legs. So you're not trying to bring your heels right up close to your body, but way out. So there's a nice big open diamond shape in your legs. And then from here, you're going to reach down towards your ankles. You can bring your hands to the floor if you like, or hold your legs, whatever is comfortable. And then very slowly, with each exhale, let your body round, soften, and come forward. If it's available, you can bring your elbows to the ground. Some people like to tuck the hands. If the elbows come to the ground, tuck the hands underneath the ankles. So the hands come to the tops of the feet, and the head comes down into that space between your legs. Again, as you breathe here, you're opening the space in your turtle shell. Right, if going all the way down is too much, you just brace your hands against the ground and relax into that position from wherever is comfortable for you. A few more breaths, breathing into that back space of your body, creating expansion in that shell. And then when you're ready, slowly make your way upright and bring the feet to the ground. And we'll make our way down onto our backs now, so you can roll down or however you want to get there. And as you come to the ground, I invite you to place your hands one higher, one lower on your torso so you can start to tune into and feel your breath here. And we'll take a couple of minutes, letting the breath settle, letting the body settle. Just tuning into your breath as it is. No need to change anything. Definitely no need to judge anything. Get curious about the breath. Where does it move? Where do you feel it? Where does it move first? Where does it move next? Now let's take the arms away from the body to the side. So bring them a little bit away so you've got some space in the sides of your body. If it's comfortable, have your palms facing the ceiling. That opens the shoulders a little bit. If not, any other position is fine. And then you'll walk the heels in so that they're under the knees, more or less. They can be a little further away if you like. So that's more comfortable for your knees. Feet are parallel to one another, about hip distance apart, setting up for a nice, easy bridge pose. So really relaxed arms, chest, upper body. And we'll start by taking a breath in here. And then as you exhale, press your feet into the ground so you feel your lower back really supported by the ground. And then inhale again, relax. Arching the back a little bit. Exhale, press down into the earth with your feet till the lower back settles. So it's like a mini cat-cow movement here on your back. Inhaling, you're arching a little. Exhaling, flattening. So take a few more breaths with this gentle movement. Expanding the front of the body as you breathe in. Supporting the back as you breathe out. And then next time you're finishing an exhale, instead of arching the back as you inhale, you'll keep pressing into the feet and take several breaths now to slowly lift one vertebra at a time off the ground, coming into what feels like a nice, easy, relaxed version of bridge. Let your legs do the work. Take some nice, even breaths here. You can even let the hips sink down a little more so it's nice and relaxed. Just leaving a bit of space all around the back body to breathe as well in this position. And when you're ready, slowly release and lower down. You can leave the arms where they are, or if you want a little more stretch, raise them a little higher now, shoulder height or even higher, as long as your elbows and backs of your hands are on the ground and your arms and chest feel relaxed, shoulders are comfortable, and you can stay in whatever position you like. And then we'll take the knees one way, the head the other way, back to center and switching. So you can do this again with some options for the breath. Right? So you could just do the movement and breathe completely freely without coordinating at all. You can exhale as you go to the side and inhale as you come to the center. Or if you want to get a little fancier with the breath, you can only move when you're exhaling. So that means you exhale to the side and you stay there as you inhale. You can even hold after the inhale if you like. And then you exhale back to center, stay there, and inhale. Again, you can hold after inhale if you like. And then exhale to the other side. Remember, this breathing pattern is optional. Inhale there and maybe hold after inhale. Exhale, back to center, and continue a few more, or you can stay stationary and breathe now in each side for a few breaths. So make it your own for the last minute or so here, whichever movement and breath pattern felt good for you. When the twisting feels complete for you, you'll come back to the center. You might want to lift your hips up a little and just bring them down so your spine feels nice and long and aligned, and then knees into your chest. And we're going to do this simple movement. We do this pretty much every week, at least once. We're going to do it with lots of breath awareness today. So if you hug your knees in close to your body, and then see if you can bring your breath down into your belly. And as the breath starts to press against the thighs, let your arms follow by gently pressing the thighs away. And then as you exhale, you'll feel your belly drop back and let the thighs drop into the belly in response. So the breath is initiating movement. So you start breathing in, follow up by moving the legs, start breathing out, follow up by letting the legs come in. If you need to do 2 breaths each time you do this movement to make it work for you, then do 2 breaths, it's fine. So if you're doing 2 breaths, you'd start to breathe in, pressing the legs away, and then you pause, breathe out, breathe in again to move the legs the rest of the way, and then breathe out. As you start to come in, take another breath, and finish the movement on the second exhale. So there's no rush here. Let the breath initiate the movement. Let the movement follow the breath. And if my suggestions don't feel right for you, then work with the movement and breath in whatever way does. You might circle the knees at some point. If you're circling, just free breathing. Let your breath go. Circle either direction, or a little bit one way, a little bit the other. Maybe squeeze in, rock side to side. I'll give you another couple of minutes here to just move and stretch and squeeze in, or whatever feels good to you. I'm getting ready to move into the last part of the class, which is Shavasana. So take your time. If your body wants more movement, if you want to stretch out, take your time to do that. And then you can start to get yourself into a nice, comfortable position as you're ready for Shavasana. And that is usually lying for most people, but if you prefer to do Shavasana seated, that is absolutely up to you. Sometimes I like to stay seated at the end of my practice because I stay a little more alert that way. And I feel a bit more energized moving into my day. But it's totally up to you. There's something really nice about just lying down, integrating and absorbing the effects of your practice. Make sure you're warm enough. So it is very cold outside today. If you're with me live, you know that. And having a blanket, or a sweater, socks can be helpful. So go ahead and get comfortable lying, or as I said, you can sit if you prefer. Knees can be bent or straight if you're lying down. Typically, the arms are out to the sides with the palms up, but it also can be nice just to lay the hands on the body or any other position that's comfortable. There's no hard rules here. And then make those little adjustments. Get as comfortable as you can, and then really try to commit to your position. So we can get quite distracted by fidgeting in Shavasana, or any time really. And we can chase, that perfect comfort and never actually get there, never actually relax. So get as comfortable as you can and then commit. And then only if you're in real discomfort or pain, you can absolutely obviously move, but try to commit and just be, let go, and soften and drop down. If it helps you to relax for the first few breaths, you can actually open your mouth on the exhale. So you breathe in through your nose. Even making some sound. Sound can really help to release tension in the body. So if you feel comfortable with that, you can make a little sound on your exhale. And then go ahead and let your breath return to normal, whatever feels comfortable and normal for you. So I'm going to bring some awareness to different parts of the body where breath may be felt. And it's theoretically, literally possible to feel movement of your breath, not breath itself, because breath only happens in your lungs, which are in your upper chest. But you can feel the ripple effect, the movement of the breath, perhaps all the way from your head to your fingers to your toes. Now, don't worry if you don't feel that. It's not common to feel that, but it's possible, we'll say. And the reason is, if you think about your body becoming very, very, very still, and then imagine your body as a pool of water, a very still pool of water. If you were to drop a pebble into the center of that pool, the ripples would go all the way out to the edges of the pool. If the pool is agitated, if there's already some movement in the pool, if your body is a little bit agitated, then we drop that pebble in the center and we don't really see the effects, right? Because there's already agitation in the system. There's already awareness of movement in the system. So let your body get nice and quiet here so we can tune into the movement of breath in different areas. So there's literally movement of breath in your sinuses. So the sinuses are just above your eyes and below your eyes. So you might feel through your nostrils, feel through your sinuses, and down through your throat. So this whole sort of head, face, neck area. See if you can feel any movement there. So you might just feel it as air moving through your nostrils. You might feel something in your sinuses. You might feel it in your throat. So just tune into that movement. So there's literally air moving through these areas. See what you can be aware of. You're just breathing normally, no need to change the breath at all. And then start to tune into your shoulders. So your lungs come and tuck right up under your collarbones, behind your collarbones. So as you breathe, notice any movement across your collarbones, across the tops of your shoulders, the backs or the sides of your upper arms. You may even feel as the shoulders move a little bit with the breath, you might feel that ripple effect down your arms, maybe even towards your fingers. So again, if you don't feel that, it's not that you're doing anything wrong or there's something wrong with you. It's just very, very subtle. So notice where you do feel movement rather than focusing on where you don't. And then bringing your awareness to the area of the rib cage. This is literally where the lungs are housed, the main part of the lungs. And simply notice what you feel here as you breathe. The front of your body, the sides of your body. The back of your body is a little more restricted if you're lying down, but you may still feel some pressure and movement in your upper back here. So tuning into that movement, wherever you feel it, no right or wrong, no judgment. And then let's tune into the area around the waist, the abdomen, the lower back. So below the rib cage, above the pelvis. Breathing and noticing any movement in this area of your body. So what's happening here is as the lungs expand, the diaphragm pushes down, it moves the abdominal organs, and that's the movement that you might be feeling there. And tuning in even lower into the pelvic area, feeling the bowl of your pelvis, perhaps filling with a sense of spaciousness and breath. Again, you might not feel any movement down in that lower part of your torso. Quite normal. Notice where you do feel movement without dwelling on where you don't. Continuing to move down, tuning into the legs all the way from the hips down to your feet. Notice any experience of the movement of your breath in your legs. Again, you probably won't feel anything or much at all, but I invite you to tune in and even imagine that movement. And then using your imagination, if this feels appropriate for you, you could imagine that you're breathing in every single pore of your body. So you're breathing in and there's this gentle full body expansion. As you breathe out, it's like you're breathing out through every pore of your body, this gentle relaxation. So gentle expansion throughout. This is imagining now, feeling of expansion through your whole body with your inhale, feeling of it relaxing with your whole body as you exhale. And again, if you don't feel it in your whole body, notice where you do feel it and focus there. Bringing focus and mindfulness, we start to clear out what thoughts bring us stress and tension. So we bring our attention to the present moment. And when we do that, using the breath, using the body as a focus, as we have the last couple of weeks, the ancient wisdom says that we clear space, we expand ourselves, and we clear what's blocking our inner light. And the chant today follows that sentiment of clearing to feel and know our inner light through mindfulness, through paying attention to the body and the breath. Annamaya me shuddhantam jyotiraham viraja vipapma bhuya Swaha. Om Pranamaya me shuddhantam Jyotiraham Viraja vipapma bhuya sakka swaha. When we feel expanded in the body, we tend to feel a little lighter, a little more open. But too much expansion can make us feel ungrounded or a little discombobulated. So now I invite you to call your energy back in. Just bring all that expanded energy back in. Imagine it concentrating into a little ball at your heart. So calling your energy in, bringing it into the center of your heart. Knowing that as you go through your day and week, that you've got this compressed and sort of concentrated reserve of energy in your heart, and you can fan that energy with your breath, with expansion in your breath as you go. And then gradually you can start to bring in some movement, breathing a little deeper, just waking up your limbs, wiggle your fingers and toes. Eventually moving on to your side as you're ready. And again, you can always spend a little more time in Shavasana if you like. And if you're ready to come back to the outer world, you can come back to seated, bring your palms together. You know that the breath is a very, very powerful tool we have to bring us into presence, to calm us down, to bring us energy. And when we use the breath with mindfulness, it is one of the most powerful tools of transformation that we have. So taking this concentrated energy that you've brought into your heart today and moving out into your life, using this tool to bring energy as you need it through breath. Namaste. Thank you. Have a lovely day.